All right. Hi, everybody. I hope you're having a great day. Happy Saturday. You're ending week 2 in If You Carb Cycle, and you should be feeling the benefits of the program at this point. You're starting to find your footing. You feel like this is something you can do. You're getting, comfortable with the cycling of the carbs. You're getting comfortable with the fasting. And if you still feel really uncomfortable, please reach out and I can help you troubleshoot one-on-one. But hopefully you're kind of finding your groove at this point. I love this training in particular because this is where we go over, some questions that you've got. And you guys have a lot of really great questions. And we also talk numbers. So if you have been doing this program and you feel really great, and you don't want to track anything and you don't want to add another layer to this, then don't. Overlook this training on numbers. But for those of you who want a little bit more specific information, I think this can be really useful. And actually, I think it's just good for you to know some calorie guidelines just for knowledge purposes. So let's start with that, and then I'll go through the questions that were asked in the page. Okay, so first of all, I want to talk about your target number for calories. For the first 2 weeks, I really wanted you to focus on eating from the food list, eating the right foods on the right day, eating when you are hungry, and eating until you're satisfied. Now, if you want to add this other layer, this is how you do it. So to figure out your calorie goals, you are going to want to look at your BMR, and that stands for your basal metabolic rate. I will post a BMR calculator. I better jot it down for you to use. It's just a really kind of rough estimate of how many calories your body burns at rest. If you were to stay in bed all day, you did not exercise, you did not chase after your kids, you did not eat, you did not anything, how many calories would you burn? That's important to know. And let me give you some examples of how this has worked in my life. So mine is like 1280 or something, 1280 calories. That's my BMR. That's how many calories my body uses just to sit around, okay? So if you have, I'm sure you have tried a calorie deficit program in the past. Nearly everyone has. It usually works for a while. You cut calories and then your body adjusts, and then you have to cut more, and then it adjusts. And then you get to a point where you're feeling like you just need to keep reducing and reducing and reducing to see results. And that can really affect our metabolism. It can affect our hormones. And it can affect our ability to lose weight. So an example of this is the 21-day fix, which I've done several times. But every time I did it, I would do the calculation, and I was put in the lowest bracket, which is a $1,200 calorie a day plan. And I just was always so hungry. And I didn't really get it because I'm like, I'm doing the calculation right. I don't know why I'm so hungry. And yes, I lost weight, but I also lost a lot of muscle tone. I weigh more now than I did doing that program, but I think I look better and I certainly feel better. And I'm not knocking that program because, if you have a significant amount of weight to lose, I think that's a really great starting place. But if you're only looking to lose a little bit of weight, or if more of your goal is really to change your body composition and to do something you can do long term, this is more your style. So I was given 1,200 calories a day for that program. Once I learned about BMR, I realized why I was so miserable because, I just told you that's how many I burn doing nothing. Okay, so I was taking in 1,200 calories a day and I was exercising. So let's say at least 300 calories would be burned during exercise. And then plus, just moving around in my day, walking, talking, eating, chewing, playing with my kids. So let's say 300, let's just give it a really low ball at 100 for all those other activities. That means I was only really consuming 800 calories a day. And that, we all know that that's just not enough. So that's why I was miserable. And that's why I dropped weight. But That just sounds so horrible. I eat now around 1,800, anywhere between 16 to 1,800 a day. And that is not because I try to eat that many. It's like my sweet spot. And it's what I naturally go to. And I've got to that place by figuring out my BMR. So when you figure out your BMR with this calculator, you're going to have a number, and it's probably going to be higher than you think. Many of my clients figure out that they're eating way too few. So if you're eating like 1,200 calories and your BMR is 1,500, you know that you're way under where you need to be. So once you get your BMR, then you can add anywhere from half of that to the full amount to get your calorie range. So for example, if mine is 1,200, half of 1,200 is 600. So if I add 1,200 plus 600, I'm at 1,800. That's a good range. So anywhere, like I said, I'm anywhere from like 1,600 to 1,800. Sometimes it's just hard to get those calories in, especially with intermittent fasting. But what I find is that I make up for them sometimes on the next day. So if some days maybe I'm at 2,000 and then the next day I'm at 1,700, they kind of balance out. If you do your BMR calculation and you find that you're way, way, way under, don't just jump up by 500. It's called reverse dieting. It's where you teach your body how to have more calories. So maybe add 50, and then maybe add 100, and you kind of get up there. But some of you might have been eating at such a low amount of calories for a long time that you're going to have a hard time getting those in. So just, get calories in easy ways, like peanut butter. A tablespoon of peanut butter is like 200 calories or something. So you can get a lot of calories in small ways like that, like add it to your protein shake, et cetera, et cetera. Don't obsess about this. Just start working towards getting those calories where you need to be. Don't obsess about it. A fitness coach that I've worked with before talked about how whenever she makes changes to somebody's macros or their plans, they are supposed to test those for 2 weeks before making any other changes. 2 weeks. So you've only been in this for 2 weeks. So just think about that. Like, this is a long-term solution, so you don't need to change things every few days. You know what I mean? Okay, I think that's all I needed to say about your calorie intake. To track it easily, you guys, to figure out how many you're getting, I recommend the MyFitnessPal app. It's free, and the basic one, which is fine, and it's just super easy to use. It recognizes nearly 10,000 foods or something. You can use a barcode and scan it on products. You can add recipes that you use all the time. So I recommend figuring out how many you're eating, just so you know, and then you can use that information to build on. Okay, I'm going to pull up the questions. I jotted some of them down, but I just want to make sure that I'm answering them clearly. So I'm going to pull up some. One of the questions was about, can you have 2 low-carb days in a row if that's what your workouts kind of call for, meaning you're doing 2 low-impact workouts in a row? Certainly, and I do that all the time. So if you're injured, for example, like my husband just hurt his sciatic nerve recently, so he had a lot more low carb days just because he didn't need those carbs, and we weren't putting them to use. So that's a great strategy, and that's part of the study of one. Look at what workouts you're doing, look at your energy expenditure, and you can base it on that. And that kind of goes into another question that was asked about how do we move forward with this. You guys can totally customize this plan. So if you, like I said, if you do more low impact exercises, maybe you want to add an extra low carb day and reduce the number of high carb days. Or maybe vice versa. Maybe you're finding that you work out really hard and heavy several days a week and you need those carbs on those days. Feel free to change it to suit your workout needs. Okay, guys, I'm pulling up the questions. There was a question about how much progress can we expect in these 3 weeks. That's a great question. I've had clients lose as much, I think the highest in 3 weeks in this program was like 12 pounds, 11 or 12 pounds. Most people lose at least 3. So, anywhere from in that range. There, everyone is different. A lot of it depends on what you were doing before this program. If you were really, really healthy before this, you might only notice a slight weight change. However, you should notice a change in your measurements and in your pictures. 3 weeks isn't a long time. It's really just enough to kind of get started. The reason I do it for 3 weeks is because people get tired of the check-ins after that. But really, it's enough to kind of get you started. You should be feeling different. By the end of this program, if you're not feeling any different, then you should contact me because something didn't quite, connect or work. So yeah, everyone is different, but most clients lose, I would say, between like 3 and 7 pounds, several inches, and then their energy is just so much better. Okay, there was a question about can you give us rules to live by after the plan? So I'm going to pull that question up. Okay, so if you want to follow this plan but not be quite as strict, yes. So in this plan, I told you not to eat bread and not to have pasta, except for your flex days. I certainly have bread and pasta on some of my high carb days now. I try to make sure it's good bread and it's good pasta, meaning that the ingredients are good. So yes, that's a way that you can kind of ease off of it. Another thing that I've done in the past is I have some treats on my high carb days. So not every high carb day, but maybe on my leg day, I will have a donut on my high carb day, and I don't know, some other sort of treat on another high carb day. So I plan my treats on those days. Instead of one full day of treats, I kind of sprinkle them through the high carb days. However, that worked really well actually through the holidays for me, because I felt like I just didn't feel as restrictive. It'd be like, okay, I want a Christmas cookie or 100 today, so I'm going to put them on my high carb day. However, now, I'm feeling like back into the lean out phase and ready to get back on track. And I really love that flex day. There's something about having a whole day that I can just like relax and look forward to and be really on point the rest of the week, that for me is sort of the right mental space. Now, everybody's different, and you can play with it depending on different things going on in your life, different goals, and that kind of thing. But that has worked really well for me lately. Another thing you can do to continue this plan but not be quite as strict are to change the number of days that you use intermittent fasting. If that's something that's a challenge for you, maybe back off and only do it 4 days a week or 5 days a week. So I hope that's helpful. Again, the study of one, you know by now how carbs are affecting your body, how the low carb days affect your body, how you feel with different workouts. So I hope that you can use that to make your own plan moving forward. Okay. A question about how much fat is too much on low carb days and how many carbs is too much on high carb day. So, and Katie, you said, I know it depends on person and body composition, but a ballpark guideline would be great. So let me tell you how I figure out my macros. This is what has worked for me. Instead of the percentages, I really go by the grams. So first I find my BMR. That gives me my target, then I add up to it. So I know, let's say my target for the day is 1,700 calories. So I know that I want, I got to get my calculator out, that I want to have, if it's a high carb day, about 1.5 to 2 grams of carbs per pound of body weight. Okay. So I aim for around 200 grams of carbs when I'm doing my macros and really focused in. So 200 grams of carbs on my high carb day. Carbs are 4 calories per gram. So that's 800 calories. Okay. Protein is about 1 pound, 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. That's our goal. That's my goal. That's what I try to get. So I do roughly 100. That if I can get 100, that's not what I weigh, but if I can get 100, I feel really, really good because it's hard. So protein is also 4 calories per gram. So if I'm having 100, that's 400 calories. So I'm at my 1,200 calorie mark just with my protein and my carbs on a high carb day. Is this way over your head yet? I hope I'm not misspeaking. Okay, so basically that gives me 500 calories to play with for my fat on my high carb day. Now, fat has more calories per gram. It's 9 calories per gram of fat. So if I take 500, that's about what I have left, and I divide it by 9, that's about 55 grams of fat. So that's what I strive for on a high carb day, roughly. Does that make sense? So I fill in with my my grams first instead of the percentages. Now I could find the percentages, I suppose, by this. You just do some division and you can find the percentages. But I like to look at the grams. That's my goal. And then you said how much fat is too much on a low carb day. So on a low carb day, I fill in the fats third. Like I know the protein every day and the carbs are easy. And then I fill in the fat. So let's just quickly do a low carb day for me. So again, 100 grams of protein is my goal. Multiply that by 4. So that's 400 calories. I try to stay under around 50 grams of carbs on a low carb day. So 50 times what did I say? 4 is 200. So I'm at 600. And if my calorie goal is around 1,600, that's 1,000 calories that I can devote to fat. So I divide by 9 because there are 9 calories in a gram of fat, and that's about 110 grams of fat. So that's why low carb days are so awesome because they're very satisfying. That fat is very satisfying. It goes fats, protein, carbs in terms of what fills you up and satisfies you. So that's how I do it. I hope that's helpful and not too stressful. Please hear me when I say if that is causing you anxiety or stress, just leave it for now and focus on the other parts of the program. Or send me a message and I can help you troubleshoot. Okay. Let's see, we talked about that. Okay, there was another question. Wendy, your question was the hardest one for me because my brain had a hard time. Well, the first one wasn't. So garbanzo beans on low carb day, you said, I know you're supposed to save those for a high carb day, but if you hadn't had any other carbs on that day and the beans don't put you over, is that okay? Yes, absolutely. I just find that I get carbs in small amounts in little things on a low carb day, so that beans have a lot of carbs, so that generally puts me way over. But if it doesn't put you over, yeah, that's fine. And honestly, you guys, if you have some garbanzo beans on a low carb day, you're not gonna like gain 20 pounds, So it's just, if you always do that, then it's really not a low carb day. And your second question was hard for me. Also, I did notice that after a high carb day, I am loving my workouts the next morning, which is great. Feels like I have a lot of energy and I feel stronger. So I'm wondering if it actually makes more sense for someone who does 5:30 a.m. workouts to have a high carb day the day before a big early a.m. workout. I don't know. I honestly don't know. And I think you should try it. Give it a try and see what that does for you. I'm wondering if it's more about the calorie intake, like on your high carb days, you had sufficient calories, so you feel really great the next day, and on your low carb days, you're not taking in enough, so the next day you feel a little bit depleted. That's sort of my thinking, but try tracking. If you know your calories and all of that, you'll have more information. So try to go through the BMR calculation if you want, Wendy, and if that is all where it needs to be, then I would try switching it up and let us know what you find out. Okay. Another thing with that question, maybe intermittent fasting isn't for you on those really early morning heavy lifting days, because I know you teach body pump. Maybe you should try, breaking your fast right after your workout, or closer, earlier, and just have a longer eating window on those days. Those are just some options you can try. Okay, you guys, I've jabbered on a lot. I think that's all of the questions. Let me know if I didn't answer them clearly enough, or if you have others. Next week, in week 3, we are going to take part in a 24-hour cleanse. If you want to. This is not required to be successful in this program, but it's very powerful. So I want to talk through that, and then I'll hop off. A 24-hour cleanse is beneficial for so many reasons, but the reason I like it the best is because I think it's really good mental practice to remind ourselves that we do not have to eat all the things, that we have willpower, that we are stronger than we know, that we can say no, and it's just a good reset. Also, it cleanses out your body. It gives you crazy good energy. It's just really great for your body to have that full rest. So research it. Look up 24-hour fasts, and you'll see all of the good things about it, and I can post an article about it as well. I better write that down or I'll forget. Now, I have done the 24-hour fast several times. I think I've done it like 5 or 6 times in the last year. And I've done it without any juices, so I just use herbal teas and water. And I've done it with the juice cleanse that I talked about a few days ago. So here's how it works. You just eat a normal dinner, and then you don't eat again until dinner the following night. So you guys are already doing this. It's just a few hours longer. It's like, 7 hours longer or something. So it's really not as bad as it sounds, because you do most of it during the middle of the night when you're sleeping. When you break your fast, you have a small dinner, a light dinner. You'll find that you're not really able to eat as much as you might think. So I like to have like a smoothie or a light, whatever I made, just a light meal. And then the following day when you wake up, I usually don't use intermittent fasting that day, because I find that when I wake up, I'm starving. So I usually just don't fast the next day. But you can make that call when you do it. On your 24-hour fast day, you don't work out unless you want to do a little light yoga or a walk or something, but it's really best not to work out that day and push yourself. It's a great day to go to the sauna or the steam room and get those toxins out of your body that way. And I'll post some more tips. But as far as using the juices or not, what the juices do are, and I posted an interview with the CEO and founder of the Weekly Juicery, which is the juice cleanse I love and use. It floods your body with nutrients. So you're not only releasing things that are bad, but you're putting in things that are good. And because the juices are, the fiber content is taken out of them when they're pressed, they don't break your fast. It's essentially like flavored liquid with nutrients. It's just not full of sugar. And because they're veggie-centric juices, there's not much fruit in them at all. Some of the juices are delicious. Some of them are hard to drink, like the Lively Lemon that you start your day with. It's alkaline water and it's lemon juice. And then there's some cayenne pepper, I believe. It's so bitter and strong. But Kimmy always told me that the ones that don't taste as good are the ones your body needs the most. So I remember that when I'm drinking them. So as far as the order of the juices, you start with the Lively Lemon, and then the other 5 you can have in any order. The Lively Lemon just starts your body. I only usually get through 4 of them, because you're also drinking water throughout the day, and it's a lot of liquid, and I'm just not that hungry when I have the juices. So I save them for another day, and they're still very beneficial, or I give them I give them to my husband for the next day. So you can, you can certainly drink them all. 6 juices, I think it's $100. It sounds like a lot of money, but most of that is for shipping, because they're shipped cold and they're shipped FedEx. So you get them quickly. You have to use them pretty quickly too, because they are live. They're not, they're not the kind of juices with preservatives and things like that you find at the store. These are live juices, and they've got to stay fresh. So the link is in this thread. Let me know if you need it again, and you certainly don't have to do the juice cleanse. It just makes it a little bit easier, and I like the idea of getting added benefits into my body. All right, guys, we'll talk more about that next week as it gets closer, but plan on a Thursday fast, or you can also do it Wednesday as well, if that suits your schedule better. All right, I hope you guys have a great weekend. Let me know if you have any other questions, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.